Well, it's a high pollen count Friday. So if I apologize in advance if I am stuffy and all that other kind of stuff, because there's all kinds of like clouds and clouds. Are the trees still giving off clouds of pollen?
No, but you mowed.
Ugh. Any case, so if I'm not sick, long story short, I'm not sick. I have allergies, but it's Friday. It's a beautiful day. Can't complain. We're here at the end of a long work week, successful work week. I don't know, it was a good time. Oh, there's a queen wasp. I have to look and see where she's going.
In your car.
Well, she's kind of moseying around the back. Look, you can see her right there. Go away.
No, that's a fly.
That's a fly? All right, well, we figured it out. Do you want to do wrist check? Okay. Sabrina's wearing her baby G.
Because I'm doing worky stuff with my Timegrapher on and picking up things in the garage, and I didn't want to bonk something else.
These are 90s, right?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Very cool, kind of bubblegummy. And I am wearing, I'm wearing my Marine Master. I've been wearing it for weeks. I love this watch. I love this watch. I love this watch. That's all I have to say. It's a first-gen Marine Master SBDX001. It's the OG. I just love it. No, I swear, it was a green.
That was a wasp. What
Okay,
came
fine.
over and attacked us was a giant fly.
Okay, good. We're all on the same page now. Everybody understands the situation. Good. All right. Now we can move ahead.
Okay. Mail call questions. Wannabe Sailor 777 Smith 6. Spencer, I believe you can save any Pogue. Now I have a 1976 blue dial Pogue that I bought brand new, so if this watch could talk, I'd be in jail. I had it serviced and the case, quote unquote, lightly polished, and it looks great. However, the lume on the markers and the hands is almost black. Would it hurt the value too much if they were re-lumed?
There's a couple variables at play in that question. Almost always the answer is yes, relooming is going to hurt the value. But we got two things. It's your watch. You've had it since new. I'm assuming that you're not planning on selling it anytime soon. So resale value is, in this case, maybe not as big of a deal. You want the watch to look the way you want it to look. Relooming is 6139. I've been able to do some relooming that looks really good, pretty close to stock. And it really improves the watch and its function, because all of a sudden you get usable lume back. I don't know. It's up to you. If it's almost black, I think that detracts on its own too. There's a certain point of lume where, even my cleaning process can't bring it back, and at that point you really have to decide, what you feel like looking at, because if it's cosmetically, if it's damaged enough and preventing you from enjoying wearing the watch, then change it out. What are you going to do? It was meant to function.
Why watch Hitman? Hey, Spencer and Sabrina. My dad was a watchmaker with his own shop in the day. He was a Seiko and Citizen dealer. He quit selling Citizen primarily because parts were hard to get in a timely manner. Some of the Citizen digital watches were very cool.
Citizen watches from the same time period, they made some really cool stuff, and some really cool, like their thing was like a early like multi-function quartz watches that had like weather calculators and like 4 different dials and all kinds of stuff. Seiko did the same thing, but Citizen really leaned into it. Citizen is such a weird company because you just can't find parts for any of their stuff. There's like no legacy support. Like Seiko had a ton of legacy support in like independent, watch parts houses, and so you can still find material, and there's still stuff all over the place. Citizen, it's like I can't even find the data on like a crystal number for this or that watch. We are pretty spoiled in the Seiko world because there's so much documentation, and we've been able to, as a group, do so much referencing and cross-referencing and researching that we have an answer for almost every Seiko question. Absolutely not true of Citizen. But hey, your dad was a watchmaker and worked with Seiko and Citizen. What stuff do you have? Do you have your stuff? I'd delighted to hear what kind of treasures you've got, and you use an ultrasonic every single day. Clean something. That'd be really neat. I don't know. I think about old school watchsmiths. I think about jewelry making. That's another thing that I think about. The beautiful tools. All right, enough about that. Thank you for writing.
Case lines on a 6138-0040 Bullhead. First last NT6HU. I have one of these bold and very distinctive watches, although mine has a blue dial, but such a cool design. The bracelet on mine is different. It's called a fishbone, I believe. I no longer wear it now because I took it to a quote-unquote professional watchmaker who charged me a small fortune to clean and time it. I was so happy when I got it back, but while wearing it one day, I noticed the winder was missing. I have no idea how or where to find another, nor does my ex-watchmaker, because he claimed I must have been playing with it. WTF, how sad, how am I going to find one?
So just so we're on the same page, your winder, so your crown and stem came out. First thing is to look into the crown tube and see if there's a stem there. See if you can see like a broken something, like a stump of a stem, or if in fact it's just gone. If it's just gone and the whole stem and crown is gone, then you just need to, buy a new complete crown and stem and pop it in, really. You can do that from outside the watch, assuming that it's still, the hole for the stem in the movement is still aligned correctly with the crown tube. And you should just be able to put that in and be done. But anyway, clarify that with me, because I want to be sure that I'm telling you the right thing.
It's just kind of wacky with the watchmaker, because it's like, okay, you're blaming the customer, people do that, whatever, but you should have made it that the customer wasn't in that situation to begin with.
Well, I mean, what happened? Okay, let's assume that the crown and stem popped out for whatever reason. I've seen this happen in watches that have worn setting levers. Worn setting levers, it's like it's a big flat lever that intersects with the click. The click, so you go, you're moving the set lever where it's like running time, date setting, actually adjusting the time, that kind of thing. Underneath it, it has this kind of circular tab diddly, and that fits into the shaft on the stem. There's your crown. So this round tab fits into basically a cut slot in that stem. If the stem is really worn, or that round tab on the bottom of the setting lever is really worn, you can pop out those stems. It's not real common. I haven't seen it very often, but you could. Another thing that's possible is that accidents happened. If you accidentally hit like a doorknob or something, maybe you broke the crown off. That's why I'm asking if the rest of the stem is still inside the movement. So that's our first order of business. We got to figure out what we're missing.
4SL Seiko 75497010 Golden Tuna Restoration. Ned Flanders 3769. Hi Spencer, how much does a QT99 cost, and where can one be purchased?
Well,
eBay.
Well, no, but they're very rare.
But that's where you got yours, I thought.
That is in fact where I did get mine. I set up a recurring search. This is a long time ago now, but I set up a recurring search for title and description for Seiko QT99, and sometimes things come up. I was lucky, mine came up, and I had to take a gamble because the person who was selling it was from a watchmaker's estate. They had no way to test it. How much did I pay for it?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I think it was really expensive to me for the time. It was like a couple $100. I think it might have, I don't think it was more than that. It was a couple $300, something like that. They're hard to find though, and I don't know what their value is. But modern quartz testers, work fine. They make quartz testers now.
Aren't they crazy expensive?
The pro ones they're in the thousands, but they are, it's a professional tool and it will time all kinds of different stuff. I went with the QT99 because I already had all my mechanical timing stuff. Plus, I'm just a sucker for originality and using something wacky. like that thing with with its Nixie tube display. It's just, I just think it's cool to use it, but it's really big. It's quite heavy. You have to you have to let it warm up. You can't just turn it on and go for it, because everything has to come up to temperature so that the tolerances are right. I think it's nifty, but from an investment and ease of use standpoint, a new one is probably better, a new tester. I just love that, classic vintage feel.
Yes.
Okay, here is the fabulous Seiko Quartz Tester QT99. It's my understanding that Seiko actually still uses these. Come on, let's see if I can get a reading here. Oh wait, I never turned it on. So these are big boys. They're heavy. There's all kinds of like racks inside this. I've actually taken off the cover before. It has multiple modes. It'll even check for mechanical. You can see it's got a picture of a pallet fork there. I've never done that. You have to adjust the gate time to be divisibles of the beat rate of the watch and I just haven't taken the time to learn that. But in theory, it works. It'll do liquid crystal, LED. I don't know why it's called sweep. I don't have a manual for it. That's the thing that's unfortunate. Anyway. So that's pretty cool. I just, it's really neat. I love this like vintage display. And it's a very simple tool. Very simple tool.
4MK, Timegrapher numbers on 3 unserviced near NOS Seiko watches. Tactical Truth 8118. Greetings, Spencer and Sabrina. Mail call question. You mentioned that the crystal for the blue dial is faceted on the inside. Is there another 1970s Seiko that has the faceted edges on the outside of the crystal? Are there 2 versions of this crystal? Thanks.
Well, wanted to make a little segment. I'll put a little segment in about that. Well, here we have an example. Samples each. Internal. So the top on the outside is actually smooth. The faceting is on the inside of the crystal. Then you have faceting on the outside, which is what this is. It's going to behave a little differently. The main difference is these are made of hardlex. These are made of acrylic. These faceted crystals are actually way more commonly used by Seiko than this kind. They pretty much, like, this is a 6309. They also made like a 7009. There were a bunch of different ones that had this kind of internal faceting, but it wasn't that common. Nowhere near as common as that. A really nice watch. Such a beautiful movement. It's fully serviced. It's not running because I took the battery out, but this is actually on our website for sale right now. Such a fantastic quartz movement. So cool. And we're back.
New watch day, unboxing the SRP775K1. Jim Collins 9999. It's been a while now, Spencer, so I was hoping you'd give me your long-term opinion of the SRP775K1. Also, the 62 MAS recreation Seiko Prospect 6R3500PO. I know you mentioned the balance makes it harder for time with finer regulation.
Okay, so this is SRP775 is when the first reissues of the Seiko 6309 7049 came out. When they came out, they were announced when Sabrina was expecting Sebastian, our 3rd child. And so I bought one like that for him, brand new. And I kept it for him. I never actually, no, that's not true. I wore it to Florida one time, and I got it in the Atlantic Ocean. Or was it the Pacific Ocean? No,
we haven't been to the Pacific. Oh wait, yes, we were. We were in San Diego.
Yeah, but I didn't have that watch then. Did I have that watch then? You know what? I think I might have. I think I wore that watch on that trip. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I did. And I brought a pair of World War I, beautiful World War I binoculars too. Gorgeous ones. I still have them. They're all packed away. I wore it for that. It did fine. It came out with the usual balance issues that all this Seiko stuff seems to have. It had like 1.2 beat error from new, and it was gaining some. I did adjust it to 0 beat error and flat, and I wore it. I made sure that it didn't just sit in the box, and I wore it for probably 10 days or something, thinking on it now, because I wanted to see, if the numbers would really settle. And something I noticed is that even at 0 beat error, it was the line was jumping up and down like this. It was really strange. There was something funky with that balance, but it kept great time. But it wasn't my watch, so I didn't keep wearing it. And it stayed, in with my kids' other watches that I have for them. Both girls have a 007. I showed it to Sebastian when he was like 5. And I said, hey, I bought this watch for you when Mommy, your mother was pregnant with you. And he looked at it, and at that time he didn't really like it. And I boxed it up and put it away again. But then, like a month and a half ago, he was trying to say, I want my watch. And he was trying to describe a black watch to me. You had a black watch.
How does he remember that?
I have no idea. And I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, and I'm trying to rack my brain. And honestly, I'd forgotten about the SRP775. And I was digging through my stuff like a couple weeks later. There it was. I was like, that's the watch he's talking about. And I went and I showed it to him, and he was like, yes, my watch. And he grabbed it. And so he's got it in his room. I need to put a strap on. It doesn't have a strap. Plus, he wears a kinetic that he really, 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 really likes.
He has a little wrist with a giant watch. It's so funny.
Yeah, he has this huge chronograph, 5M chronograph, not chronograph,
Diver.
kinetic diver, all black with the diamond-like coating. So, he's a very active little boy. By the way, that coating, the black coating on modern Seiko, I don't see a mark on it. It is bananas how well that is holding up.
Mm-hmm. And he wears it in the tub.
And he does wear it in the tub. He goes in I just make sure the crown is screwed down, and he wears it in the tub, and so far everything's fine. I should probably pull the case and re-grease all the seals, but he wears it 24/7. He never takes it off.
So that's why my Redune 6105-8110 doesn't work. If I know. That looks as bad as Heimdallr?
Yeah, Heimdallr is one of this. There are a bunch of sub-brands under the Redune R2 thing. They have a bunch of little watches. They're all kind of the same concept that they're made. They ostensibly are all different companies, but I'm not sure that they are.
Who sent me 2 watches without ever making sure they work. One didn't work at all, and the other one had a problem with the date wheel. They want $220 today for the one you are reviewing, which is ridiculous since you could almost get a San Martin for that much money.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I'm still shaking my head that the one that we got, that I got, was literally missing a major component of the movement. It wasn't in there. Like, the bridge was not assembled correctly, so the intermediate wheel for the oscillating weight, it was just missing. It just wasn't there. I was wondering why the watch wasn't running. It's because it's not winding, because that part was gone. Just flabbergasting how that made it out of Seiko and then made it to Heimdallr or R2 Redune, and that it went into a watch and was sent out. I don't know, it was bananas to me.
Mail call 252. Lawson Mar 6110. Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. I'm writing because I have a question about the LM series. I have a 5206-6081 with a rattle in the case. Obvious reasoning would suggest that it is missing a spacer of some sorts. However, a few months ago, I came across the exact same reference with a similar issue. If you have any insight on this or any advice on making spacers, it would be appreciated.
Okay, well, I rather than me flail around trying to remember what the heck's going on, let me make a segment and I'll dig a couple 5200s out and see if we can come up with an answer. Okay. Here's a 5200 movement, or watch. It's a 5216-6050. The way that these work is there's a little movement ring right here, on its own, a little crown cutout right there. And what it has then is this little warpy spring. So if yours is rattling around, it's this that you're likely missing. Another possibility is these movements are also set up to be screwed, to actually have casing screws to screw it into the case. You can actually see them here. There's one, that screw, there'd be a screw there with a rectangular squared edge here with a round on that side, and another one right here. And then that screws the movement into the case. Boy, these are beautiful movements. Boy, these are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movements. I've been meaning forever to service this watch. I mean, it's in a base metal plated case, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, the watch cosmetically is just so nice. Such a beautiful movement. Pretty cool, huh?
For RFF Seiko 6106-8100 Chevron Restoration. QMAC Performance. Did you see the issue when you pulled balance and palette for the blip on Timegrapher?
I did. So for those who didn't see that video, I was getting good numbers out of a fresh rebuild on a 6106. With zero beat error of any kind, but every good, almost normal bit, there'd be one tick. There'd be a single tick that was down, and it was very persistent and consistent. So I knew there was something up, most likely with the escape wheel. I pulled balance and escape wheel, and I found that when I had inadvertently over-oiled the pallet fork, which I didn't see on the underside, and then that basically got like a blob of lubricant on top of the escape wheel, so that whenever that tooth would come around, I think the lubricant on the escape wheel tooth and the pallet fork stone would kind of grip for a second and then spin apart as the wheel kept going around. So I re-cleaned the entire balance and the pallet fork. I cleaned the escape wheel, that section that had the blob of oil on it. I was able to do that with the movement in place, with that wheel in place. Cleaned everything, made sure to oil it correctly, put it back together, and there we go.
Okay, now we're going to green bean land.
Okay, the next things are about green beans. So if you're not concerned about, if you don't want to, if you want to hear about my MG, stay tuned, because that's what we're talking about.
Oh, I was giving them a second to turn it off.
Oh, okay. All right, well, if you're clocking out, we'll see you.
Yes. Green Bean Update 21, Peter Campbell 3828. That gear oil is used in boat bottom ends also, so boat shops may be a future source. Best of luck with the parts hunt. You are probably attached to the green shift knob, but an original wooden one with an MG emblem would be a nice addition.
Yeah, I actually, the green shifter, that's what this came with. It's something that the original, I think the second owner, was it the second owner? No, the first owner might have put on. I wouldn't mind switching it out at all, actually, but Sebastian, my son, really, really likes the green. And because I have another one of the black leather ones with an MG logo on the top, and I was like, well, why don't we try this out, see how this looks? And he was like, no.
What if you say, well, you can have the green one?
No, he'd want it to stay there. I don't know. I'll ask him today.
It's your car.
I know, but I mean, I like to get his input on stuff, and it's just I don't overrule him on something so minor. And I think the green shift is kind of nifty in its own way.
Mm-hmm. Leo Crespi, Type 2, and I would try to put it where the dashboard is already broken, with the top part of the chronograph sticking out. Okay, well,
for those of you who didn't know what we're talking about, I have some World War II airplane cockpit dashboard clocks, wind-up clocks, and I have a few of them. They're super cool. They were bringbacks from World War II, and I want to put one in the MG. And so I'm just trying to figure out where in the world that might go. So I thought about that too. Putting it up so it sort of sticks up, it would be like its own thing. The thing is, I couldn't quite figure out how to make that an elegant and graceful integration. It probably would be easier and more straightforward to just inset it right into the face of the dash. So that's probably still what I'm looking at. The only thing is I'm feeling kind of woogie about like actually drilling something out of my dash. I can imagine myself in the years to come being like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And instead, so I've been like, maybe I can make some kind of a bracket. Something that
should make a bracket.
I could just, you know, I drill into the dash and then I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, I know. I've seen this situation more than once. I think you should make a thingy holder.
Make a bracket. Okay. Well, when I get around to thinking about that, I'll certainly talk about it more, I'm sure. Okay, so here we are in the dash, the MG. Here's that cracked out section here. Here is this Type 2 chronograph. I mean, I understand it, actually. It wouldn't, that'd be, I don't know. It's just a matter of how to integrate it into the dash. But the other option, so that was the Type 2. That's the Type 2. Then you have this one, which is, I believe, a Type 4. And that I was thinking about putting like right here so that when you're looking at it, you can see it in the dash right there. Alternatively, there, see those two little screw holes right back there? I could potentially use those to mount some kind of a bracket to hold the clock up here. So I could basically, it wouldn't impede my view at all. And it would just sit there. And I wouldn't have to punch a hole in my dash or anything. I mean, that might actually be the best way about it. I don't know. You tell me. I can't do that because if I do that, I would have a bracket sitting here covering over this. This is for the tonneau cover. I have a tonneau cover. This thing, it covers the entire, you know, top of the car, this whole thing. And but it right here in the front, it snaps in. This snap goes right there. So it would be really weird. I have to think about it. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching our videos and have a great weekend. Bye.